Hi and welcome along to Box to Box. This is a show where we speak to opposition fans to get their opinion on the big game ahead. Of course, it is Everton versus Arsenal at Goodison Park this weekend, 12:30 kickoff. Massive game for the Arsenal. And to get an opposition view, I could only go to one channel, the biggest Everton channel, the best Everton channel, and that's Toffee TV. We've got Ped on the line. How you doing, Ped?
Not as good as you, Rob.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's not been a great time for Everton. What's gone wrong, Ped?
You guys sending Mashiri down the road to us. That's what's gone wrong. Him and big Alistair. Remember when you all wanted them to be in charge? Well,
I know.
This is what happened.
I know. Funny thing is that when they first went to Everton, I'm thinking this is a great result for Everton because, you know, they do have deep pockets. You know, I'm thinking they are going to spend a lot of money, and they have spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they've made a lot of poor decisions along the line.
Yeah, that's it, Rob. Ultimately, yeah. The guy, listen, Mashiri spent money. He spent a lot of money. He spent too much money, and it's come back to really hurt Everton. You know, when he came in, FFP wasn't really a thing, and obviously that's something that's developed in the last few years as well. And I think they thought they could just do what sort of Chelsea were doing, or what Chelsea are doing now, to be honest. And just throw money around and not really worry whether it was good money or bad money. You know, whether, you know, if a signing never worked or a guy was on too much wages, well, it didn't really matter. You know, we've got lots of money and we're in the Premier League, and there's no plan. And you know, again, you look at you guys, you look at what Arteta's done and what Edu's done, and having a strong. Having strong leaders in there. We just haven't, and we've had to change the manager so many times, and we've had to change the director of football. And what we're coming to the end of now is a cycle of you just keep on making bad decisions. Something bad's going to happen, and that's where we are, you know. And ultimately, if Everton get relegated this season, it'll be deserved just because of how the football club's been run in the last 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I couldn't believe, you know, I was looking at Everton's records over the last, you know, sort of this season, but over the last sort of few games, and I just couldn't believe how many games you've lost. I mean, is it 4 games in a row at home as well? Which normally I always look on and think, you know, Goodison Park, you know, when that place is rocking, it's such a difficult place to go to. I remember our trip there last year, you know what I mean? It was really the fans that got you over the line.
Yeah, that shows you where we are. We used to win, you know, could rely on our home wins all the time. We've had poor away form for the last few years anyway, but it was always that home form that we could rely on. And recently we haven't been able to rely on. And I think, you know, I'm sure, again, you'll have seen some of the things that have been the club and how they've been trying to manipulate the media, and they've been using the word toxic a lot and throwing that around to describe the fan base. But I don't think it's been that bad, to be honest. It's been angry because we've been losing games, but there just doesn't seem to be enough in the team and in the squad. And what I mean about that is enough good players. Ultimately, you know, you can have bad form, you can have bad confidence and all those kind of things. I just don't think we've got enough good players. And again, that's what happens when you continue to replace decent players with poor players. And it's caught up with us, as I said, and the football club have almost tried to use that to their own advantage, to manipulate the situation, to not take the blame for it. And it's weird, and something just struck in my mind then when I was beginning to talk to you, thinking that this could be the last time you guys actually visit Goodison Park. You know, if things go bad this season and we get relegated, then, you know, this would be the last time you should visit Goodison Park. You know, the new stadium's getting built; it looks magnificent. That's the whole weird irony of the situation, is that, you know, in 18 months' time we'll be moving to an absolute gorgeous new stadium on the Mersey, and, you know, Goodison is, you know, is a place where you go and where opposition fans don't like it. We know that that away end is archaic. Let's get it right. The atmosphere has always been brilliant, but it just feels like everything is almost dwindling down. That's what it feels like as a football club at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, obviously you're in a bad position at the moment, second from bottom in the league, but you brought in a manager who's been there, done that. Sean Dyche. I mean, one of the things I was thinking is like, I don't want him to sack Frank Lampard. From a selfish point of view, I was like, I don't want him to sack Frank Lampard yet, because they'll get that new manager bounce just in time for when we visit there, and that's exactly what's happened. And Sean Dyche is coming. And what have you made of that, appointment?
I think it's not too late, but I would like to have probably happen pre-World Cup. If I'm honest, like other clubs have done, like Villa and or like Southampton have done, I probably would have liked it then, because I think Frank Lampard, the fans got on board with him. Not because he was an amazing manager, it's just because he was a nice, relatable fella that backed the fans, and people liked him for that. I never really bought into it, because ultimately, for me, I've been sitting here doing this for nearly 9 years, and we've gone through managers like it's been unbelievable. So I don't like getting attached to managers. So it wasn't really. I never bought into that all. So it probably should have happened then. But I think Sean Dyche is the right man, because I think what Frank Lampard was trying to do, and I think he did this last season to keep us up. He's trying to play not negative football, but obviously he's trying to be more defensive. He's trying to concede less goals. He's trying to nick games, maybe by 1 goal. And that's what kept us up. Richarlison was the big catalyst for that, and keeping it solid at the back. But if you've got that and it doesn't quite work, you might as well go and find a guy who understands how that works. He understands how to keep clean sheets. He understands how to nick games 1-0 and stay in the Premier League. And I think for me, there could be negativity seen on from the outside of appointing someone like Sean Dyche. I know there's a little bit of negativity amongst some Evertonians, but I think it's almost like the Eddie Howe situation, isn't it? If you take a step back and you look at actually the job he done, you look at the job Eddie Howe actually did at Bournemouth before he went to Newcastle, the size of the club. And I think it's the same with Sean Dyche. If you take a step back and look at what he did with a club like Burnley, very, very impressive. And I think in the end, he just ran out of time. And he got new owners who didn't quite see things the way he's seen them. So I think he probably is the right man for Everton where we are right now. We can't, we've tried literally every other connotation. We've had, one of the biggest managers in the world in Carlo Ancelotti. We've had, a hated manager, in Rafa Benitez, and we've had every different kind of manager. So now we've got a manager and actually suits where we are. We're in a relegation fight. Let's get a manager who understands what it's like to be in a relegation fight.
Yeah. And listen, you guys have got a good record against us as well. I remember that game last year for me, when we played you guys, for me personally, I thought that was our worst performance of the season. I remember how passive we were. We were awful. And I remember we went in at halftime 1-0 up, and I was like, very fortunate to be 1-0 up because we ain't done nothing.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, you came out and you lifted the crowd, and it was a good win for you guys. And I was even looking at the record, and like, we've only won there twice in our last 10 visits to Goodison. I mean, there's been a few draws in there, but the last couple of years we've lost there, and
yeah,
it's gonna be, as I said, it's gonna be a tight game, early kickoff, but this is a different Arsenal that is coming to town. I mean, what have you made of Arsenal?
Really, really like the way you play. I think what I really like about the way you play is I think you can almost see characteristics of the people Mikel Arteta has worked with and worked under. Because obviously, listen, he's come from Manchester City, and you can see that style of play. But I don't know whether you guys see this, but I see this as an Evertonian, is that there's a little bit of Moyes in there as well. I see a little bit of Moyes to your style as well, because when Moyes was our manager, obviously Arteta was fantastic under Moyes, but we didn't mess about with the ball. We got it. We weren't a long ball team, but we got it forward as quickly and as few passes as we possibly could, with players like Arteta and Pina, who very, very talented players. But because we had a hybrid of a team, We didn't mess about with it. And that's what I really like about this Arsenal team. It has traits of the City team, but it doesn't mess about on the ball. It doesn't play, 20 passes amongst the centres to unlock the opposition. It just does. It just tries to get the ball forward. And, I watched the game. I watched the North London derby, and I was so impressed how few touches you had that night, that game, where it was like, why do we need to play it between ourselves 15 times when we can open these up with some really clever passing and really good movements? And obviously the speed off the ball, Odegaard open up defences with quick passing, the movements of the front three. And that's really impressed me. And I would rather watch Arsenal at the moment than watch a Manchester City, because obviously if you watch Manchester City, you can, as a neutral, you can almost wear you down just watching them, because there's so much. It is, isn't it? There's so much. They move the opposition around so well. It's so clever how they do it. But I am of a generation, and I think you're the same, Rob. We were brought up with this hybrid football. You go back to what used to be like in the 90s and stuff. Yeah, I love that kind of football. I love that hybrid style. It's what I was brought up on. I don't get me wrong. I don't like long ball, but I don't like overpassing it for the sake of it. So the way you guys
mix
are playing,
it up sometimes.
I really do. Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Listen, we grew up with, you had Kevin Campbell, we had Kevin Campbell. Yeah. We love our strikers, we love our goal scorers, we love just getting the ball forward, and that's what I see a lot with this Arsenal team. And I think that's why a lot of people will want Arsenal to win the league this season, because actually it's a really enjoyable style to watch.
Well, that's thanks for those compliments, and it has been great to watch. And we've actually been very, very good on the road this season, and it's going to be interesting to see how we play at Goodison, because, as I said, to me that was the scene of one of our worst performances, and that's one of the things that we haven't been doing this year, which is like starting games slowly, being very passive. We've been literally the opposite especially away from home, and we haven't really conceded goals away from home as well. So that has been a really, really good thing. Players to watch from Everton. Who we got to watch out for? Yeah. Who's the player that,
Yeah. This is tough. No, honestly,
it's got to be some. Tough. It's got.
Well, let me just. The thing is, right? I have no idea what we're going to play tomorrow, because of this is Sean Dyche's first game. I don't know whether he's going to go 4-4-2. I don't know who. Okay, well, Alex Iwobi.
I've been impressed by him.
Yeah, he started the season really, really well. He's drifted off I think since the World Cup, not quite being the same player, not quite had such an effect on the team. Obviously, confidence and things like that. So, but he started the season really, really, really well. But where does he fit in this team? Where does he play? He's been playing in the tip of a three-man midfield. Does that three-man midfield still exist? So that's a tough one. Damari Gray, who scored the winner last season, seen his goal at Man City just after Christmas. He's capable of that, but is also capable of being non-existent in a game of football. So again, and that's where we are as a team. And obviously, the one player that Everton fans are praying comes good in the second half of the season is Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
We all, everyone knows he's a talented footballer. He was massively linked with you guys to come in the summer. Obviously, he went for Jesus instead. Suffered massively with injuries over the last 18 months that have meant that he's never got into any kind of rhythm to get going again. And he also relies on service, this lad, as well. When he was in the Carlo Ancelotti season, when he was getting, I think he got like just under 20 goals or around 20 goals. He was a bit of a tapping merchant. Problem is, there's no one to provide him with the ball to tap in the back of the net now, or there's no one providing the crosses for him to win those headers. So we're just praying that he finds a sharpness in the second half of the season. And he gets us going. But it's real, as I said, it's really difficult to know, just because I honestly don't know what the starting 11 is going to be tomorrow when we play you guys, because it's Sean Dyche, for all I know, might pick an 11 based on who done the bleep test the best in the week. It's really hard to know. So your guess will be as good as mine tomorrow. It's when the team comes out. So till the team comes out, 11:30.
I just also wanted to find out who are you? Who do you look at from the Arsenal team and say, right, he worries me the most? Which one player would you pick out?
Probably Saka, I'd imagine, just because he does seem to have that little bit of something extra. That I think, when you try and stop a team playing football and you cut off the passing lanes and you're working hard and you're doing, who's that player who's got that little bit of magic in the boots that changes the game? When you talk about someone like Liverpool in the last few years, it's probably been Salah or was Mane, and that's probably why Liverpool have been struggling. You look at, obviously, when you look at Man City, you're looking at Kevin De Bruyne putting the ball to Haaland. If you can stop Haaland, then you've done half the job. And I think for you guys, to me, it seems like it's Saka. I know Odegaard's been amazing, and you could probably pick out a couple more. But I think Saka's got that little bit of X factor. If he skips past you and he takes a crack from 20 yards or whatever, what are you going to do about it? How can you stop that? So he's the one I think's got that little bit of individual brilliance that you cannot stop, no matter how well you play. So unless obviously you do a number on him, which, that means that opens the door for somebody else if you try and man-mark him or whatever. So it's really difficult. And again, that's why you guys have been so good this season, because it's more than just one player. It's, there's two or three or even more that, confidence looks like it's flying.
Yeah, well, listen, let's get predictions. I'm sorry, I've got to go. I've got to go with confidence, even though we've had a poor record at your place. But I'm basing this off of how we've been doing away from home. We've been really good away from home, and I think as well, because of what we're chasing at the moment, we can't go there and be passive. We can't go there and not really go for it. It's like every game's like a cup final for us at the moment. So I've got to go I'm going to go 3-0. I'm sorry, because we've been keeping clean sheets away from home as well.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? No disrespect, by the way.
I've been accused. None taken. I've been accused of being a negative or toxic person, so I'm going to go for 1-1. But Arsenal are going to hit the post 12 times and hit the bar 17 times, and Pickford's going to make like 90 world-class saves, and Connor Cody's going to get hit in the face, and James Tarkowski's going to be walking out with one leg and all kinds. Like it's going to be the jammiest 1-1 you've ever seen in your life. So I'm going to go for, and it's probably going to be a goal that hits one of your players and bounces off their arse and goes in or something. So that's my level of positivity at the moment.
Oh boy. Well, listen, Peds, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. I truly, and this is not, again, me just capping, right? Obviously, I want to win that game tomorrow. I'm desperate to win that game. Yeah. But I'm also, after that, I need Everton to stay up, man. We can't have Everton in the Championship, man. Everton's like too big a club, man. Everton, I remember Everton winning titles. I'm that old, right? So I want to see you guys. I think under Dyche you could. So many teams.
Oh, listen.
There's so many teams down the bottom there. It's all tight.
Yeah.
I think you could. So let's hope the next time I come up there is to the new ground. Well, no, actually, to the old ground.
Next season.
To the old ground, to Goodison next season, and then into the new one the season after that. Yeah. But listen, Ped, thank you very, very much. Just remind everybody where they can catch you as well.
We are at Toffee TV EFC on all our platforms, and I am at Ped7 on Twitter.
Yeah, and check it out. So it's a brilliant, brilliant channel. You want to get the lowdown on what's going on at Everton, not from some of the rubbish you hear sometimes on the radio. From the true fans, go to Toffee TV. Brilliant channel. Thanks, Ped. And don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV. Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.